So the other day I was out with my friend shooting fog and Milky Way up in Malibu when we were packing all of our stuff up and about to head out for the evening and noticed this beautiful road comp. Now, you've seen from most of my videos, I love stacking images. I'm not that I'm not a fan of single image processing. I don't know, I prefer to get a crispier look from stacking my Milky Way images together and blending them with longer exposure foregrounds. Now, the problem that you run into when you have stuff like power lines is that when stacking your image, you have to be extremely precise and not overstep your boundaries with the power lines, because it will just become a muddy mess and just look like crap. So in this video, I'm going to go over how I was able to go about retaining the information for my power lines and putting the image all together. So I've already stacked this image already. It is a 9-image stack for the Milky Way, a 2-image stack for the foreground, and a single image for my light trail. And the issue that you'll run into with stacking your Milky Way is these power lines. They're very delicate. When you use an application like Photoshop or Starry Landscape Stacker, you kind of mask this area out. And what it does is it kind of treats it like this muddy mess, and you get a result like this where your power lines are gone and it doesn't look very good. So in this process, it's very easy to add a power line back to your image, but it's not so obvious. So I've actually opened up these files in Photoshop already, and I'll show you how I go about editing this. So with Photoshop opened, I have my sky frame on top of my foreground, which is on top of my light trail. Now, I'm going to go ahead and blend my foreground into my sky into my foreground real quick, and it's going to consist of adding a layer mask, using a brush with, I'll start with 20% opacity, and because I didn't invert this, I'm going to change my brush to black, and then I'm going to just start brushing in. Well, I can crank this opacity up down here and start brushing my foreground in a little bit. And I'm actually going to reduce this because I don't want any trailing in the image. So this right here is pretty much going to be my base layer. Now what I'll do is, since I have that all where I want it to be, I'm actually going to create a layer I'm going to combine these two layers together by pressing Command Option Shift N and Command Option Shift E, and then that blend right there is going to be on one layer. And I'm actually going to use this line tool right down here. So the problem that I have is I have part of a power line and then this like disgusting mess right here, and then part of a power line, disgusting mess. And I'm gonna go through real quick and just clean up this mess real quick so that I can add the power lines back in afterwards. So after going in and using the stamp tool, oh gosh, whatever this Band-Aid tool is, I don't even remember what it's called anymore. I kind of got the image roughly to where I want it to be. Now, you're probably looking at this and thinking like, this is a disaster. That's fine. I'm gonna show you what I do in order to bring this back to reality. But pretty much what I did was I deleted all the power lines that I don't want to use. I mean, I'm going to bring them back into the image, but in order to kind of get it to where I need it to be, I got to remove whatever's not working for me. So after I've done that, I'm going to use this line tool. I'm going to increase my width up to like 70, and it varies image to image, obviously. I edited this already, so I know that 70 is what's going to work for me. And it's really as simple as this. I'm going to create a new layer just so if I mess up, I can always go back. But literally all you do is you start with a point and then you drag to where you want it to be. Start with another point, drag it to where you want it to be. I'm gonna put this one down here. Start with a point and drag it down to where it looks like it should be. Now, if you go back, there might need to be more of a dip to this, or this could be extended out so that it kind of vanishes into the foreground. But for somebody that's unfamiliar with the area, this is pretty easy way to fix any sort of power line issues you have. It's not obvious, but it works perfectly for me. Like, I'm creating power lines that weren't working for me before, and I love the results of this. I've been doing this for a while, and I'm happy with how it's kind of turned out. And just like that, power lines are exactly where I need them to be. So you have all these shapes on here. I like to just group that together so it's a little more organized, but the power lines are there. I'm then going to add my light trail on top by just bringing that layer to the top and then using the light and blend mode. And actually I'll use the screen blend mode. No, I'll use light and blend mode. And now I just need to do a little bit of layer mask brushing so that it's not so in your face. But yeah, that's pretty much how I go about blending in light trails and fixing delicate wires. And as you can see, like, I mean, aside from maybe having to go in and just kind of maybe clean up a little bit, it's pretty easy. Like, I can get rid of, oops, and get rid of this right here real quick. And get rid of that one. You know what? Before I forget, let me go in and add a flare to this image so that I can have flares around the lights. And I had built a flare before for a few images, and I'm not going to go over the setup of all this, but suffice to say, it makes if you do it poorly, it looks like a very obvious looking flare to the image. You kind of want something that looks like a starburst effect, and you just got to blend it in well. So I'm going to add this on here. I'm going to set my blend mode to screen, and then I'm going to drag it into place, and I'm going to reduce it down, and just drop it on top of where I want it to be. And then I'm going to duplicate that layer and add this into another spot so that it's not so obvious that it was faked. And then I'm going to use my hue and saturation and apply it just to one of the flares, and then adjust this so that it looks red. Yeah, so it adjusted the right one first. And then I'll hold Option and drag this down, and then hold Option again and wait for this like little down button to show up and apply it to the bottom flare as well. So now you have little punchy stars on your brake lights, and your image is complete. You can go ahead and edit the Milky Way all you want. You can do whatever you want to make this look the way that you want it to look. But this is my post-processing on how to add star trails, or sorry, how to add light trails to your image, how to add power lines back into your image so it looks cleaner, and how to add starburst effect to light trails. So I hope this is a tutorial that helped you out. If you have any questions, feel free to add them to the comments below. I'm providing these videos for free and not asking for anything back. I just hope that it's something that can help you guys out with your editing. And yeah, feel free to subscribe and see more of my tutorials. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I have my own website, all the typical stuff. But yeah, hope this is something that works well for you in your editing future. Bye.